The midterm elections are coming up, and Virginia and New Jersey races are starting to swing in the opposite direction of last time. They're starting to trend more favorable to the Republicans. And this is what Chris Christie is bringing up. And he's saying that it's Joe Biden's fault. And Joe Biden is hurting the Democrats in this midterms election. Let's watch.
Well, look, I think Virginia is very close. I think the RGA, the Republican Governors Association, is spending a lot of money. They make decisions based on what they think they can win or lose. So when you see them spending a lot of money in Virginia, I think that gives you an indication they think it's winnable. New Jersey is now down to a single-digit race. Latest polls I've seen has it at 6 points. It was at
not as close as Virginia.
Not as close as Virginia, but trend, George, 2 weeks ago it was at 15, and now it's at 6. So it's trending. Now, whether there'll be enough time between now and Election Day for that to happen in New Jersey, but either way, what you're seeing, I think, are the national headwinds created by Joe Biden and the congressional Democrats causing problems. And you heard McAuliffe say it himself. He's blaming Biden. So, I think that's what you're really seeing here.
Donna, these races, these off-year races, often are tough for the party that won the presidential race the year before.
Right.
So do you see what he just said? These races are hard for the other party when there's a change in power from Democrat to Republican or Republican to Democrat, like there was from Trump to Joe Biden. So he's kind of just dismissing what Chris Christie just said as like really anything to talk about, because this is just something that typically happens. There's always a shift because people tend to be critical, I guess, of the government. And I kind of tend to agree with him. Like, what, Chris Christie, what are you talking? Why is this such big news, or why is this anything? Like, I'm not sure what Chris Christie is getting at. So let's hear from the lady on the left.
And Terry, as you well know, has bucked that trend before, and I think he'll buck it again. We saw a historic turnout in Virginia, both in 2017, 2018, of course, for the midterms, 2019, but Trump was president. I think what Terry is doing in the closing days of his campaign is he's increasing the level of enthusiasm. He's really focused like a laser on jobs, but he's also doing something that I think is important, and that is he's saying to national Democrats, congressional Democrats, let's wrap it up so that we can get back to creating jobs and doing what the American people want.
Yeah, he wants an accomplishment right there. Sarah, we saw Glenn Youngkin make that remark in the debate about how many times Terry McAuliffe's going to talk about.
So anyway, if you didn't know, Terry is the running for governor of Virginia, and she's saying why he might still have a shot for Virginia. As he's also the Democratic Party. He's on the Democratic Party ticket, so he's running for governor as a Democrat.
Donald Trump, how is Youngkin walking that tightrope?
Well, we've certainly seen Republicans have to walk this tightrope before. In some ways, look just at 2020, Susan Collins' race in Maine. That was a race where the Democrat tried very hard to tie Susan Collins to Donald Trump, failed to do so. Susan Collins won re-election. You know, Youngkin needs Trump supporters to come vote for him, and he also needs those Northern Virginia, D.C. suburbs that are most interested in the school issue, for instance, that have been turned to pretty hard blue Democratic areas to scoot back just a little for him to win this race. And so that's the tightrope, is the lower part of the state getting, not alienating them by pushing Trump too far away, but in no way tying himself to Trump for that top part of the state with what we've seen is really these school board parents. They're the new soccer moms in a lot of ways that could really change this election.
So do you see what she's saying? She thinks that for Republicans to win the election in Virginia, they need to separate from Trump, because if he looks like he's supporting Trump for some Virginians, they're not going to vote for him because they don't like Trump. But he also needs to gain the support of some Trumpers because they like Trump. So he's in a dicey situation. Trump has kind of messed up Virginia in a way for Republicans, because it's not just one straight narrow path saying, yes, I'm Republican. Some Republicans, if he looks like he's a big Trumper, are not going to vote for him.